Hello fellow strategy enjoyers on the internet! You may be wondering what the best way is to counter Cymanti and what the best tribe is to do so. You will get to see my pick for the best tribe matchup in action today. These creepy crawlers, ritualistic bugheads and weird puff pastry biters are no match for roads. You can simply squash them with some civil engineering. That will be the way that we are going to absolutely obliterate these guys. And if you hate Cymanti as much as I do, make sure to hit the like and subscribe buttons as that really helps me out. My goal is to get 400 subscribers before the end of the month and you can help me achieve that goal. Now without further ado, let's see what rope works lies ahead.
Alright, so that was a very epic intro. And now we are going to take a look at this game here. We of course are playing Yadak, and this is an example how to play against Cymanti. Now, looking at our spawn, let's see. So, the first thing of course you want to do is make sure that you're actually playing against Cymanti. You can do that by checking the score, which should be 630 points, and if there is a tribe that you are playing against around the 630 points, you can most safely assume when you're playing on Drylands that you're playing against Cymanti. And that's your best bet, to just be sure that you are trying to win. Because Cymanti is an absolute menace and the world is terrible. So, look at our spawn. What we are going to do, of course, is we want to expand very rapidly. And this is what we are going to do. We are going to make use of the triple road strategy as long as we can make use of that. Which basically means that you don't get organization early on. You want to upgrade your capital with just roads, and from there you will conquer the rest of the world. And we get to see a couple of things here. First off, we of course have a village here, which is very nice. We can upgrade that. There's also a village over here. We thought that that was the case because of these resource indicators. There's one over here as well. But you always want to get to the middle first. And this is one of the weak points of Cymanti. It takes them some time to get started, you know, with the first couple of moves. They really need to get that shaman out of the way, need to boost something. That takes a lot of turns. And Yadak is a perfect opposite of that. Yadak is very good at the very early part where they can basically zoom and get some villages very early on. And from that point they are a bit slower to develop. Because, well, they need some technology to actually level up their cities. But you have time, at least some of it. We upgraded the city here, or just connected. There was no specific use for that other than I wanted to be cool. So here you probably were thinking, why don't you wait a turn and just grab organization and from there you go further? No, you just connect up the city and upgrade your capital. That increases your star prediction by 3 stars per turn in total. While if you did this, it would only save you 1 star. So the net win is more in your favor in this situation if you do it like this. Also, look at the terrain generation here. We could be expecting that our opponent is somewhere around here maybe, or maybe they spawned all the way over here, but you can never be too sure because the terrain doesn't particularly tell you everything. You can see here that we are getting a little bit close, so we want to make sure that we aren't getting rushed by a boosted hexapod. always be sure to try to stay out of range of those and don't leave your cities open. And now we see a border pop up over here, which is exactly why I said that you shouldn't be too sure about these lands tiles. They don't tell you everything you need to know about, well, where your opponent is going to be. Here we see our opponent and we get organization. Of course you want to get an explorer. This one unfortunately does not exactly go the way I wanted it to go. It was more supposed to go like this, right over here. But this is fine. We know that there's their capital and we want to get vision on their shaman as early as possible. This is pivotal information. If we know where their shaman is, we might be able to rush it, take it out for a date, and then they go cry because their heart got broken. But what we are going to do now is just try to out-expand our opponent. At the moment we are doing perfectly fine. And we are going to upgrade our cities as much as possible. Really dependent on the spawn. This was kind of a good spawn. And I did this on accident, but in the end this was a very nice move. Because of the way that this explorer is now going to move, it's going towards the lighthouse. It's going to almost definitely get that. Which means that we can upgrade our capital as well. Which results in us getting 10 stars per turn at the end of turn 5, which is pretty good. That's pretty good. They move back their shaman. We don't know where it's going. And they can kill some stuff. And yeah, they are getting into a defensive position, which is understandable, but you really don't want to get to that point. Cymanti is a strong tribe when they can keep attacking you, but if they can't, they really have to scramble by with the resources. Next up on the agenda is always to get riding. Riding is essential when playing against Cymanti. Also, you want to lure them in somehow, and after you have the resources for it, you can start making a whole bunch of riders. And this is exactly one of the most important things about why Yadak is the perfect counter against Cymanti. They can really out-expand them. They are so incredibly quick to develop with all of these roads. They can basically get all of their units out there before Cymanti can produce a strong enough force to absolutely wreck you. Here you go. And what you still want to do, as with every game, you want to get a whole bunch of value, as much as you can get. And also, you want to keep getting some explorers, even though it hurts your economy. It will help you so much when you know what your opponent is doing, so that you can make sure that your own units are safe and that you can hit their units that are the most important. Also, don't forget to keep spamming riders. Riders are very good in combination with the roads, especially against Cymanti. 13 stars per turn, 13 stars per turn. Let's see who wins this. We start linking up some of these cities again. Always good to get going on that. And we make some slick movements with these roads. I did one here over here as well. This because when you capture this city here, of course, and then you can link it up, and which makes your warrior go one tile further, basically making whole turn quicker to get out there and absolutely out-expand your opponent here, which is pivotal. Pivotal in any game of Polytopia. They captured that, sure, but we can hit that and try to get some value on these warriors and such, and try to keep bullying them with these riders. Well, of course, making some good micro movements to make sure that your units are not getting hit as much as theirs are getting hit. Look at the economy. That is a very interesting point. We had such a great economy in the very early game. Around turn 5 we were set up so that we had 10 stars per turn, and it has only increased by 5 stars per turn, which is not ideal, but we have gotten a very nice advantage, and we are trying to cut off Cymanti from this part of the map. And if we can get an advantage in the amount of cities that we have, we can definitely win the game. Now I gotta give it to this opponent. They were planning out with their warriors and such very well, and so they didn't fall into my traps too much, but we still managed to do some good micros that definitely helped us into the game. This explorer here is not particularly fantastic. It does reveal that there is just a plane of nothingness over here, which gives the edge to our opponent here, because, well, there's a village over here that we can't get to easily. The only cities that are close enough are these two over here, and that is pretty nicely compensated for by roads. And this is why Yadak is usually better than tribes like Umaji and Imperius and such, even though they can get roads fairly easily. It takes them so many times, like some turns, to get to the point at which they can like pay for the roads. Whereas Yadak, they can start with roads and just start spamming them very early on. Which is costly, but it works. Here we need to get started on our economy. It's been waiting for too long. Get that population growth. It's always nice. Always try to get a giant in the face of the hexapod spam. Even though they can kill it pretty easily with a couple of boosted hexapods, you can very easily just make a new giant usually, and from there you can get a whole bunch of value from one giant that is exterminating a whole bunch of these stupid bugs. And with the value that you made, you can start to aggro your opponent. Don't forget to keep spamming all of these riders. Opponent here. Also, we still know that their shaman is somewhere over here. We still want to keep our distance from it a little bit, but we want to exterminate as many of these units as we possibly can, because they are the most difficult thing to deal with. Here we get the first giant, and we can get some more resources, and we can level up that city as well. Here again with the movement, just one road that is just helping this warrior get 2 tiles of movement. You always want to make your roads diagonally if possible, because that means that your unit will be able to make use of that road more easily and go into 2 different directions 2 tiles. Especially with the spawn road that you want to make, is if you can get a spawn where you have such a position that there's 2 resource indicators and you can get to both of them with 1 road, that's ideal. And that was the case in this situation. It's very nice. Here we do something else that is also very interesting. We try to get them off of this ruin over here. We probably can't get this village. We are just so far away, and even though we have the roads to compensate for that, we don't have an army over here yet. So that's not too great. And here we go with the rider spam. And you'll get to see, now that we entered the mid game, and all of these hexapods are not too scary anymore, because we have such a large army to basically overrun them. And you'll see what I mean with that. They can get some stuff, of course. They get their first centipede over here. And we are not scared at all because we know how to deal with this. As I said before, we want to get them off of this ruin over here as much as we can. Keep stalling them because we want to not give them any advantage. Also, if you can get a siege on, that is usually the right play, especially if your unit is cheaper than the amount of stars that your opponent is getting from that one city. So that's usually the best option that you have. And we continue with the spamming of the riders. You usually don't need as many as I do at the moment, but we are going overkill because I have seen someone definitely beat me with Cymanti before. When they did something, and I'm going to maybe make a guide on how to beat my own strategy when playing Cymanti versus any tribe, because these riders, they are very hard to deal with if you don't have some kind of advantage already. And in this case, our opponent had 1 or 2 fewer cities than we did. So we are in the lead and we are going to keep making gains on them. Okay, we can see the movement of their centipede. It's going towards the shaman, which we are not too afraid of. Especially if they somehow aggro us with it. We have this giant over here that's protecting our most important flank. And if we can just get to kill their centipede, there's nothing left for them to do. Also, we get free spirit. Of course, if they keep spamming hexapods, you can just chain a whole bunch of them and they don't stand a chance anymore. They're just going to be dead, as well as you might be able to get their shaman as well. We just put out that giant over there because we want to lure out their centipede, and they were calculating this turn. I think they were actually using a calculator bot to try to see if they could somehow manage to kill this giant with their centipede being the last one to hit it, so that they could actually like upgrade their centipede, do some extendo on it, you know. There they go. Yep. We keep stalling them off of that ruin, and now we put forward our giant again so that they need to act on it or I'm going to take their city. But little did they know that we actually wanted them to kill it, so that we could then kill their centipede with all of these riders over here. Also, I made a little misplay here, very small micro. I should not have put this right over here. I thought I didn't hit with it yet. I thought I could have killed this guy and then moved on to the city, but alas, I did already move it, so here we go again with the rider spam. Here they are going to, this is the turn they calculated. Here they are going to just kill that guy. Absolutely obliterated. And it did cost them a couple of units. Let's see here. Cost them 1 warrior. That's 2 stars. That's 1 hexapod. That's 5 stars. That's another one. That's 8 stars. 8 stars, and then they are going to get these 2 killed as well. So that cost them around 12 stars just to kill 1 giant, and they didn't get much advantage out of it. Okay, yeah, they are making more units, but I think that at this point we have them cornered. Even though they made another centipede, we have such a huge amount of riders over here, and they can't break through it because they don't have an advantage in the amount of cities that we have. So what we can just do is, this is also a smart play, by the way. You can hit something and then after that you can get up climbing, as I did before. So we can just try to get vision here with this rider here, and now we know that A, we have way many more units than they do, B, where their shaman is, and C, what the heck is going on. And we see that we have way more units than they do, so we can absolutely start obliterating them in every way, shape and form. Here we go and kill that guy. And what they didn't know is that we already had vision on their centipede. And we knew that this guy was going to come over here and just munch on the rider. Also, keep stalling. Keep stalling. Because you want to get into the late game against Cymanti and keep spamming your riders. Opponent here sees that and is greedily going for the kill. They get also my rider, which is fine. Totally fine. I'm not going to miss 1 rider if I have such a large army. We start luring them in some more, because we know that they have been wanting to get this ruin for a long time. Now we put our warrior over here so that we can basically ensure that we are going to be able to hit all of their segments and then kill. And that would be a huge loss of investment for them. I disbanded 1 of my riders. Don't look at that. I get 1 knight, and that's going to hopefully be able to chain through all of their units, but we are not sure yet. We also don't know what their vision on that is. Look at this. Plan perfectly executed. Yes, they can get some kills. Yes, that's all good and well, but it's really not going to be a problem for us to just do this. And from there we can try to kill both of these centipede heads. Would have been better if I could just chain through everything, but I was getting greedy. I just wanted to get that siege. Could have been a little bit better possibly with my attacks order. May have been able to chain through this and get that siege off, but wouldn't be making a huge difference actually. We can just kill it anyways, and we basically already won. It's really a pity. I think that this player was playing very well, especially from a behind position, but there's no way that Cymanti can compensate for this. And even though their swordsman strategy would have been better if it was a bit earlier, because no way that they can beat this. But you know what? Good on them. They played well. Here they give up, which I totally get because most of their army is basically gone. But I wanted to see if I could actually siege their capital and make an unbreakable siege. Which I was not able to do because I poisoned my rider here. And that is the only reason that that didn't work perfectly as intended. But still though, yeah, you can see how this game went from, okay, we are doing equally as well, to, okay, I'm definitely winning this and they have no way to catch up to me, and now I'm just winning. So I think that that is a way that you will get to see how Yadak is the perfect way to counter the Cymanti strategy. And I may release, as I said before, I may release a way for Cymanti players to adopt a strategy to basically not be as vulnerable to this rider spam as this player was. And I might even make a counter video to that. I might even make a counter video to that, and I make a counter video to that, and I make a counter